How to change, my fearless friends. It's not easy at all. It's a process. It takes patience and it takes practice. So I got to have this awesome topic in mind for today's episode because I cut my hair today and I've straightened it. I look completely different. And, I thought, well, since my hair is so different, let me just have my very first podcast episode without makeup on. No makeup at all today. And I really look different and I'm enjoying it. Different is good, my fearless friends. We need to do things that get us out of the comfort zone and put us in adversity, make us feel the challenge because, as I said in our previous solo episode that I did, we pretty much only grow when we are in challenge. When we are challenged, because every single time that you are enjoying the fruits of your labor, which is amazing, and we all need to do that, obviously, we are in the comfort zone. We are feeling nice and good and warm and fluffy. It's comfortable. So let us do things different. And by the way, I'm also wearing the type of dress that I usually would not really wear, something that's not really very fit for my body, which, if you're only listening to this on Spotify, you may want to come and join me on YouTube as well. Because of course you don't want to miss this this new change of in my look. I'm just joking. I'm kidding around. The thing is that whenever I do something that's different, whenever I want to stand out, sometimes I wear things in public that make me stand out just because I want to be getting closer to feeling more uncomfortable as much as possible. Because yes, I do am having a lot of social media appearances with my podcast, with the work that I do. So it's really important to be prepared for everything and anything. And especially as I'm a fear specialist and a speaker, I need to be there 100% no matter what happens. So I want you to think about this in your position, my fearless friend. How can you change? How can you put yourself in a position where you are not feeling comfortable, when things may seem, may sound, may look a bit different, may look a bit off? Now, I'm not telling you to cut your hair, change your look completely like I did for today. And by the way, I love makeup, but for a different day, another topic. It's about my body dysmorphia, where I could not leave my house. I could not envision myself living my house without having makeup on quite a few years ago. That's why today is such a big celebration, and I'm so happy and excited for this amazing achievement. Wow, it's like, who am I? And the answer is whoever I want to be. Now, going back to our talk, put yourself in a position where you feel that you are uncomfortable. Maybe start with something really simple, really basic. For example, speak your mind. Start saying things around your friends, around your family, around your relatives, maybe, that you would maybe not say in your business or in your working environment. You may want to be bold and courageous, one step at a time. As I said earlier, it takes time, it takes practice, and you may say, well, Roxana, I'd rather do these changes and speak out in front of maybe my colleagues at work or in front of my boss, not in front of my friends and family. Okay, whatever you feel that makes you feel in a different way, feel your body in a different way, this gets you to start seeing things from a whole new perspective. And let's now talk a bit about patience and time and practice, because these things are major. Now, something interesting that I'm wearing today are some very cute earrings with this message that I truly love. Now, I have a word here, and it says, I don't think that you can really see it because it's the camera on my Zoom is showing the opposite, but it's LOSE. It's not love, it's lose. And I chose these because I love the message that losing, making mistakes, and failing brings to us. We may have a million losses. We may have so much losing as we want to do this very hard change in our lives. And whatever this change may mean to you, maybe you want to hire a new person in your organization. Maybe you want to start your own business. We are talking about fear in business, or maybe you simply want to quit your job and take some time off and figure things out, see who you are, see what's happening deep down in there. Whatever the case may be for you, know that it takes time. So how do we acquire this patience? Because today's word, the secret to change, how do you change, is with patience. It's easier said than done, 100%, and you are right. For me to quit a job that I did not like anymore, it took me 8 full years. This was the beginning of my career as a fear specialist. I've completely changed everything from a manager, having a team of freelancers here in Romania, and it was an American marketing company. I felt trapped. I did not enjoy being there after a few months after I started working there, but I continued because so many benefits and because so many secondary benefits, because I was completely unhappy. So it took me 8 years for me to say, okay, it's enough. I need to change things. And I want to tell you how painful it was, because I had some issues with my ego. This story that I'm going to tell you today is about how not to do things. So as I got employed, it felt amazing. It was really nice. The salary was nice. I began learning all sorts of new things. Things were looking okay for me. And many of my friends said, wow, I mean, you're accomplished. You're so young. Like, look at you. You have this great position. You are speaking in English, French, and Spanish. And I was like, wow, I'm so lucky. But I kind of began to see that, after a while, I was doing the same thing over and over again. The very fun and enthusiastic style that was in the office began it felt boring. It felt that I can never even scratch my potential there, because I always had this drive deep down inside to be of service, to do good, to offer people something. I had no idea what back then, obviously. I was just trying to make a living, trying to understand what's going on with this life after I graduated from my university. And as I began having my master's degree in translations, I thought, well, let me try some translations before anything else, because I could do this on my own term. I kind of understood what's happening there with me being my own boss, so to say, but I would need to look for clients. And luckily, I had a friend that was in translations. He had an office and he would give me so much work. I had so many translations to do that I did not have a life anymore. I felt completely the slave of my work, and that was the worst. So I thought, okay, I need to be employed. So after I began working and after I began understanding that, okay, this is not it as well, I began looking for ways to do something that would make me stand out a bit, because the energy and the atmosphere in the office where I was working was very dull, plain. Everyone was unhappy. Everyone had something to say behind other people's back because no one was truly outspoken enough. That's why I mentioned it earlier, to just say what was on their mind, because we kept getting loads and loads of work and we did not know how to stand up for ourselves. We were mostly very young and we had no idea what having a real job meant. So, me looking back with this huge ego that I had, I would never ever ask for help. I would not be coachable. And I thought I knew it all. This was the problem, my fearless friends. So, again, my story is how not to. So, what do you think I did next? I kind of looked for a side activity, a side hustle, a miniature part-time job, because I was living with my parents back then and I did not have to worry about cooking or anything else. So I had some extra time after I finished work, the 8 hours per day in the office. And I began learning how to sell. I began being an agent for a really awesome company that had organic products and all sorts of supplements. And I guess you know the brand, you know the name. I think that maybe you have maybe tried this as well. And it's no shame if you did. I learned some amazing things back then. So I'm happy I took that path before I went into deep personal development. And I kind of felt that things were off in that other company as well. I mean, I began learning about business and about selling, and I enjoyed it. It was so much fun at the beginning, but again, something was off because I had to follow someone else's directives. Someone else would tell me how, when, what to sell, how. And it felt empty at one point. But the truth is that before I began this journey with the second company, with the part-time job, I had my very first NLP course. It was a very small workshop that I had the pleasure to attend because a friend of mine from work back then insisted so much that I should have a look at something that changed her life completely, because she had breast cancer. She was very young as well with breast cancer. And because of all the emotions and guilt that she felt from a tragedy in her family, she developed breast cancer. And yes, unfortunately and fortunately, because now we know the emotions that we have and that are not properly dealt with bring us all sorts of problems in our health. And let me tell you, by that time, since I felt so afraid to quit my job, I was unhappy. I was really frustrated. I was having panic attacks. I was having massive anxiety. I was really depressed and I did not know it. I would always hide behind a smile. What could go wrong, right? We can fool people so easily, but the problem is that we fool ourselves. This is the main issue. And I thought I have it under control. I can deal with it. I don't need any help. You can't tell me what to do. You need to mind your own business and let me do my own thing. This is how I thought back then. I thought that I knew it all, but in fact, I didn't know anything. So being pushed a lot from behind from my friend, I attended the workshop and I kind of began to understand that, hey, I'm not a victim of my circumstances. I don't need to be afraid all the time. I don't need to be blaming other people, because I would always feel guilty that I'm not good enough. But I was never responsible, because it's so easy, my fearless friends, to fall into the trap of it's his fault, it's their fault, it's the government, it's politics, it's my boss, it's the manager. It was never me. It's so easy to blame others. But when we actually put the responsibility on us, we get to understand that you don't need any guilt. Why would you? It doesn't help you with anything. Remove it. Shame, again, it has nothing to do. It doesn't bring you anything. However, when you move on the other side of shame and guilt and you become responsible, you owe it to yourself because you begin having a partnership with yourself. And this is the goal. So long story short, because I kept on working there in a place that I did not like anymore, the relationships in my life were not okay. My health was failing big time, and I developed a heart condition at about 26 years old. Or should I say years young? I guess I can say 26 years young. And I also had a nodule in my throat and all sorts of nodules in my breasts. And I was truly scared. I was so frightened that I had no idea what to do. And I thought, oh my God. And I basically had the same pills, the same medical condition that my grandma had. We had trachycardia. I think this is how you pronounce it, where you have the rhythm of your heart really fast, faster than you should. So I got a treatment from my cardiologist back then. And I felt really scared, but you know what? This did not lead me to change. Not yet, anyway. It took me more painful experiences. It took me more losses and me feeling basically miserable. I felt sick to my stomach to go to that office because I kept on pushing myself, and my system would say, hey, it's enough. You've had enough. Stop doing this. You need to change your life. You need to start with changing your professional life completely because you're draining yourself. And it got to a point where I finally attended a bigger neurolinguistic programming course, and I began training myself to be a coach back then. And the list of courses with NLP is huge that I did afterwards, because that first one was a big breakthrough where I realized that I don't need to keep fear. I don't need to keep frustration and anxiety and panic attacks, and I don't need to be angry all the time, because I was so angry. I wanted to change. I wanted to do all sorts of amazing things, but I had no idea how. And my fearless friends, again, the word that we have in today's episode is patience. Patience with yourself, because it takes time. Looking back at the magnitude, the huge change that I had to implement in my life, starting with my mindset, going towards my entire areas of my life, it could not have happened faster. Yes, I had a big ego problem. However, all of these changes, since our mind is not made to change, we are merely created to survive. Our mind says, he's alive and kicking, he's breathing, I have won in life, I'm okay. What thriving, what businesses, what success, money? No, he's breathing, I'm a winner, I have this huge victory. This is how our mind thinks. This is how we are created. And fear is the same. Fear simply wants to keep you safe and alive, breathing. That's it. It doesn't know anything about your goals and desires and the wishes that you have in your heart. Nothing. So you need to be mindful that it takes time. If you are towards at the beginning of your journey, know that you are doing amazing just for being here and for listening to me sharing my story. Because what happens when you have so much going on and you want to do so much and you simply can't, you cannot. You need to stop, you need to take a breath, you need to take a step back and just stop and look at how your life looks. Because you may be one step closer to burnout, you may be close to overwhelm, and that's not fun at all. I know how painful it is because I kept on burning out even at the beginning of my business in 2018. I had no idea what I had no idea about. We simply don't know what we don't know. There's just so much that we need to take care of in life in general, that unless you take a step back when things are off and assess and look at yourself, really honestly, be very critical of yourself, that's when you can finally see what's wrong. Because if you can't stop, if you don't stop, if you don't say, okay, I need a break, how on earth are you going to check what's happening that's wrong? What do you do maybe that's extra that you shouldn't do? Maybe you need to cut down on your to-do list, and I'd say actually burn it completely off, take it off your agenda. You don't need a to-do list because you will never ever in a billion years achieve everything that you have there. You won't. I know, because I've been there. We are all overachievers. Today's society is phenomenal. It's amazing. But if you know how to use it, unfortunately, and fortunately at the same time, it uses us more than we use it. So you need a schedule. You need to have a time frame for the things that you have going on in your life. Your to-do list is damaging and you need to get rid of it on the spot, because it may create more anxiety that you are even aware of at this point. So change, again, my fearless friends, it comes in time, it comes with practice, and it comes with, again, losing. Losing gets us some amazing lessons, because all of these things that we are dealing with, all of the losses that we may have all sorts of failures in business, with money, with making the best choices in our working environment. These teach you, these are your best teachers, and these are the hardest lessons. I know. Believe me when I say that I know and I understand what you're going through, because I have been there. And wherever you may be in your life, in your professional life, in this very moment, when you feel fear, this means that you are on your best path. It means that you are doing things right. Because when things are great and awesome, again, you do not grow. You are going to feel an impulse, because our being, we humans are just so paradoxical, aren't we? We need comfort. We need to have safety to thrive, to feel creative. We need to have our mind to feel very safe and okay for us to perform, right? At the same time, we need novelty, we need surprise, we need to explore, we want adventure. So where does fear come in this really opposite equation? Because you have the big plus with the adventure and traveling and everything and businesses and amazing ideas and goals for your future and for the future of humanity as well. Then you have on the other side, I need to be comfortable. I cannot put myself at risk. So ideally, you want to embrace yourself again, be in a partnership with fear. So how do you see fear in all this change? Embrace it and accept it, because it is your biggest ally, your best friend, your BFF forever and ever. And I want you to start treating your fears and your mind like a worried mother. So when you were a child, when you were a teenager, and you were very outspoken, you may have told your mom, I'm going out. It's 9 p.m. I'll be back in an hour. I'll just go get an ice cream with my friends. And your mom would say, what? You're not going anywhere. You are here. You're staying here with me. It's very late. It's dangerous. How dare you even say that? Don't you see it's dark outside? Don't you see what's happening on the news? And your mom, your mind could begin to tell you many, many countless reasons, thousands of reasons why it's dangerous for you to go out at 9 p.m. But when we rewind and come back in the present moment, it's maybe your choice to have a new person employed in your company, or it's maybe time for you to develop that public speaking career and speak in front of your colleagues at work, or why not become a speaker? Whatever the challenge may be, it is the same. Your mind acts like a worried mother. So if you start arguing with your mother and you would say, well, I'm 17, Jesus, why are you talking to me like I'm a child? I'm safe. It's just a block away. I'll be right home. Leave me alone with this. This is nonsense. What do you think that your mom would do if you reject her? What do you think that your mind will do? Young man, young lady, you are never ever going outside of that door at this hour in your life ever again. Discussion, end of discussion, right? However, if you begin to embrace your fears, if you begin this partnership that I'm telling you about, something magical is going to happen, and the dialogue, the inner dialogue, monologue, call it any way you want to, is the most important, because fear happens in your mind, right? So this is the place where you need to have the best, the most important dialogue of your life. You and yourself, you with your mind. So let's change the perspective. Let's change the position. If you tell your worried mother, aka your worried mind, Mom, you're right. It's dark, it's late, and it's dangerous. I know you're right. I've been watching some of the news and it's really dangerous. But you know, I'm 17, and maybe, just maybe, you can start trusting me. And I promise you that whatever may happen, I am mature enough, I'm rational enough to look for a solution. And I promise you, I'm not going to disappoint you. You can call me, you can check on me. I'll have my phone close by. I promise I won't stay longer than 10 minutes so that you see that I'm okay. Maybe next time, maybe, if you agree, I can stay longer. But I can show you, I want to show you today that you can trust me. And your mom, your mind will say, wow, who is this? Like literally, who are you? And what have you done to my son, to my daughter? This is amazing. Yes, you can go for 10 minutes, but please call me when you get to that place. You get the ice cream, call me. And then when you're on your way, make sure you have someone with you. Don't be alone in the dark. You call me again. And you can start negotiating with your mind, my fearless friends. This is brilliant when you get to be in a partnership with your mother, with your worried mother, with your worried mind. Because again, our mind is worrying by default. It's meant to keep us safe, not thriving, just safe. And that's it. So, my fearless friends, consider being patient with yourself. Consider looking at things from a whole new position and you embracing yourself, your emotions, and your fears. And the best way to do this is with this great question: how can I do this despite fear? And the most important part of this question is despite fear towards the end, because it means that you acknowledge your fears. You don't need to run away from them because they're there with a reason. They're there to tell you what to do next, how to engage with yourself further. So what do you think about today's topic? What's a struggle that you are facing right now? Are you having any challenges with wanting to change in your professional life, and maybe fear is keeping you a bit hostage? Let me know. Tell me your comments. Let me know your questions, and I'm happy to take this conversation further with you. And if you want more, go to my website, roxanapopet.com, and download the 7-step guide to permanently conquer your fears, which is the most amazing and fun way. And I'm not modest at all. I'm sorry, not sorry, but this is so good. You'll see some testimonials on social media about this amazing ebook that I wrote a while ago, teaching you how to manipulate your mind in the most fun, authentic, and profitable and productive way for you. So let me know how this goes for you, and I cannot wait to hear about your success story when you start implementing change. I'll see you soon.